Michigan Magazine is kept on the road by our many Michigan friends. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, what began as a crazy idea among 9 police officers to purchase the historic Clare City Bakery quickly became an international phenomenon, carrying on a Michigan tradition with delicious donuts, pies, pastries, breads, original coffee, and more, plus a full menu at the new adjacent Traffic Stop Diner. Downtown Clare, a winning combination, Cops and Donuts. The Art of Amalia Jonas is at the art store near Lupton, Michigan. Stop by her gallery or visit her online to purchase that perfect masterpiece or sign up for private lessons. Begin your journey in the world of art by capturing the inspiration around you under the personal direction of Amalia Jonas at the art store. The Michigan-made rebounding mailbox pole. Never again worry about the winter snowplow taking out your mailbox with this ingenious rebounding pole. Your mailbox takes a hit and keeps coming back year after year. Call now or visit their website, toughmailboxes.com. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Michigan Magazine. I'm Barry Stutzman. On this week's Michigan Magazine, in the midst of a cold winter, we're thinking spring as we visit fly fishing folk singer Alan Cayn along Michigan's Rifle River. He's got some new music along with a new fly fishing rod. It's an irresistible combination. Then we'll learn more about the mighty Michigan Blacksmith as we visit Spirit Stone Forge of Kalkaska. Stay tuned, it's coming up next.
On the edge and have a lot of fun while I'm there.
Announcing the Michigan Paddle Sports Directory, your one-stop internet connection. At MichiganPaddleSports.com, it's now possible to explore Michigan's extensive waterways like never before. Michigan Paddle Sports Directory is a comprehensive directory of canoe and kayak rentals and liveries throughout the entire state of Michigan. At MichiganPaddleSports.com, you'll find a great paddling route, outfitter, store, school, rental shop, or tour guide. Michigan's great waterways are waiting for you. Make it an adventure worth remembering by first visiting MichiganPaddleSports.com.
I'm gonna stand in a stream, cast troubles away on the end of a fly fishing rod. And when the day is done, I'll soak up the sounds and let nature bring me closer to God. It's a crazy world, spinning too fast, and we're all on a downhill slide. But peace will come when we gain control, and love has nowhere to hide.
There is no better place to escape the crazy world than northern Michigan casting the waters of the Michigan trout stream. And no better person to share that escape with than folk singing fly fisherman Alan Cayn. It's been quite a while since we last met. We decided it was time to unplug from our busy world, to relax and visit with Alan, and to talk fishing and about his new CD called The Last Cast. So on an autumn afternoon, our paths crossed once again along the banks of the Rifle.
Look at that, isn't it pretty?
Yeah, it is. Oh, you say would be the best time to do fishing?
The time you have available to try it.
What would you cast from here? Any special places where you'd find a nice little trout, or?
Oh yeah, they're all through here. I don't see anything coming off the water now, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything either. Yeah, this looks good. I won't be using a traditional fly rod.
Oh, okay.
It's called Tenkara. It's fairly new to this country, but it's all over Europe. It originates in Japan.
Really?
Tenkara means from heaven.
Oh.
And it was, you'll see this thing. It's pretty interesting. So I've been playing with that this whole season.
Well, what's the difference?
There's no hardware on it. There's no reel.
Okay.
And it's telescopic. They say a rod, a line, and a fly. And it's very simple. But it's very, very productive too. It would never replace traditional fly fishing, but it's been a real hoot playing with it, though. You know, it's fun.
Hey, good luck with it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't developed for sport fishing. It was developed for commercial. Oh. And they would use this rod. This is hundreds and hundreds of years old, if not older. They would use it in the mountain streams in Japan. And of course, then it was, you know, many pieces of bamboo. But with today's fibers and technology, this is made of carbon. This is 95% carbon, and in this little tube here is 11 feet worth of rod.
Really?
You know, just extend it all. There's no reel or any guides. It's just what you see, and it's really interesting. It's very effective because with fly fishing, you want to maintain what they call a drag-free drift. And it's almost impossible not to have a drag-free drift when you're fishing this style.
So with the centuries-old Japanese-style fly fishing called Tenkara, less is more. The soul of the fisher person becomes more in tune with the soul of the waters and fish, so to speak. As Alan tells us, when a fisherman or woman enters the waters, it can become quite a personal thing. Different experiences for different people.
Barry, I don't know how, I can't really explain it. It's just something nice.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
It is.
And there's a good tradition to it, and you can do whatever you want with it. You know, you could buy millions of dollars worth of equipment if you care to, and you can take trips to New Zealand or Mongolia, or you could stay in your home state or just down the block or what. But it's the act of fly fishing. It's I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but maybe I can clarify it by when you're casting a fly. Your attention's on the fly. You're watching it in the water. You're carefully mending it and making sure. I mean, it's a good cast, and you want, of course, to catch a fish. But everything else comes into focus. Everything else comes into focus. It's not just the fly and the fish. You see the flora. You notice so much. You know, and that's what I really love about it, and that's true for the other fly fishermen I know too.
Fly fishing and the emotion that goes with it is a passion of Alan's, as is composing, singing, performing, and recording ballads of his outdoor adventures. His latest CD is called The Last Cast, that not only spotlights his talents, but the talents of others. But the theme is much the same, the love of being one with the environment, especially while fly fishing.
The album is just the whole, it's a real effort of love, and it's actually really about love and fly fishing. It's not an in-your-face kind of about love, but it's who we are, and we wouldn't. I heard it put best this way, that nature is as beautiful as it is because it's seduction, because we protect the things we love, and that pretty much could explain the concept of The Last Cast. There's a song, I always put a traditional song on the CDs, and this one was written in the 19th century by the Irish poet laureate William Butler Yeats. It's called The Song of the Wandering Angus. It's interesting. This is the first song I ever heard. It wasn't a song, it was a verse, but the first one I ever read, I should say, that mentions the trout. And we'll do that.
To the hazelwood, because a fire was in my head. Cut and peeled a hazel wand and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped a berry in the stream and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the ground and gone to blow the fire aflame, something rustled in the air and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossoms in her hair. She called me by my name and ran and vanished in the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering from hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone and kiss her lips and take her hand and walk through long green dappled grass and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun.
Michigan Magazine is being brought to you in part by Discount Foods Downtown Mayo. Find national name brand foods and merchandise at sharply discounted prices. Shop the smart way and please the family without breaking the budget. Discount Foods Downtown Mayo. Clemix Sales and Service on Mapes Road, west of Mayo, your complete recreational vehicle sales and service connection. Visit their beautiful showroom of new and pre-owned ATVs, lawnmowers, power equipment, snowmobiles, utility vehicles, and more. Clemix Sales and Service is also the home of the American-made Victory motorcycle line on display at Clemix on Mapes Road, Mayo. Hale Hardware, your do-it-center in Hale, Michigan. Much more than a regular hardware store, providing everything you need for whatever your project is, along with a knowledgeable sales staff to get her done. Serving Northern Michigan since 1946. Hale Hardware, south of M65 at Ainsley in Hale. The clank of hammers hitting anvils was a common sound at towns and lumbering camps throughout Michigan the latter part of the 1800s. The blacksmith was the master of repair, jack of all trades when it came to the forging of metals, from wagon wheels to horseshoes. With the dawning of the Industrial Revolution and the advent of welding and stamp forging, the essential blacksmith seemed to be heading the way of the dinosaur. The clanking of the hammering, striking hot metal on anvils seemed to be fading with the changing times. Then, ever so gradually, it began to be heard again, off into the distance, with the resurgence of the art of blacksmithing. The blacksmiths of Michigan are being spotted more and more throughout the state, plying their craft into breathtaking art. We experienced the romance and beauty of blacksmithing again on Michigan Magazine as we made our way into Kalkaska County. Traveling along M72, we again began to hear the signature striking of an accomplished blacksmith just southeast of Kalkaska. It was early morning, and Pat Hayes of Spirit Stone Forge was already busy adding to his inventory of decorative pieces of manipulated iron. With the bellows feeding the coals, the metal began to glow white-hot. As the iron-heated Pat sat with us to tell us of the world of blacksmithing and its growing popularity here in the Great Lakes State.
Blacksmithing is seeing a resurgence in this country in particular since the early 70s, maybe the late 60s. We had a downfall of artistic blacksmithing, which is what I do, from probably the end of the Art Deco period in the 40s, late 30s. Interrupted with World War II. As the troops returned, of course, the country became very industrialized. Right. Most of the big factories that had industrial blacksmiths no longer needed them because they had made machines to replace them. So we've seen a dying of the art till, again, the late 60s when we all went to an alternative lifestyle, let's say. Right. In the 70s it started, and probably in the last 10 years there has been a tremendous boom in the artsmiths.
It's traveled quite a bit, I mean, from the necessity of a blacksmith in every community to more of an artistic expression now. You're into a more of a, well, decorative and embellishment of the steels and really bringing art out into the forging of these metals, aren't you?
We're trying. Of course, back when you look at some of the stuff that was done in the great cathedrals and some of the work that was done even on ordinary tools back in the 15 and 1600s. It was very ornate, the Baroque period. And then we lost it. That kind of died out. So we're just starting to figure out some of the stuff that they had done back then.
Tell me, how did you get interested or involved in the art of blacksmithing?
I started over 30 years ago as a farrier in the Grand Traverse area. I did a 2-year apprenticeship with a fellow over there. Mm-hmm. And then
what was the bug that bit you? What drew you to that? Do you recall? Was it an instant or kind of a gradual thing?
Well, my first business partner was a blacksmith. Oh. We had a riding stable over in Traverse.
Oh.
And then I had horses, and I kept wondering, why am I paying this guy for something I can do? Uh-huh. So then I went to school and then did my apprenticeship, and we started from there. Shod horses for about 5 years, and then had a skiing accident, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. which involved some back surgery, so that was the end of my horse shoeing career. Mm-hmm. So for a couple of years I carried all the equipment around, and again, this was in the 70s, and there wasn't much information out there. We had a gentleman in this country in 1970 wrote the first published book in this country in a long, long time, The Art of Blacksmithing, Alex Beeler. And Alex had gone around the country wanting to learn and interviewed a number of blacksmiths and wrote the first book. There's some good information in it, some not so good information. But at that point, there wasn't much going on in this country, and it was real frustrating. Mm-hmm. So I actually gave up. Mm-hmm. And then about 8 years ago, started again.
What drew you back? I mean, just...
I was on a tour with my girlfriend, and we were up in Charlevoix. They went to the Artisans Gallery, mm-hmm. and they had some artwork in there and some pieces that a forge had done that we'd walk by, and I go, well, I can make that. I can make that. And my girlfriend finally said, well, make that, because Dad's anvil and his forge are in the back of the barn. And that's her dad's anvil.
Oh my goodness.
An old Peter Wright, and I had Ken Mankel in Grand Rapids rebuilt it, mm-hmm. and that's what started it. Remembering that back in the early days, depending on the culture, the blacksmith was either considered a good magician mm-hmm. or part of the black magic, because people couldn't understand how he could take something that was hard like this, put it in the fire, get it hot, move it around, bend it where he wanted to bend it, stick it back in the water, and instantly it was back to hard again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Had to be magic. Mm-hmm. And that still seems to be the draw today. There's something magical about taking a piece of metal, forming it into something, and it goes back to a piece of metal.
Where do you do your craft? I mean, you have your own shop here, but you do travel around and do different shows, don't you? I mean,
we do the art shows. We did your show this year, which was very nice. Mm-hmm. I'm also the demonstrating smith at the Michigan Renaissance Festival, mm-hmm. so I'm there for 7 weeks doing demonstrations.
And you also are involved in the Mackinac Island projects they've got?
Mackinac Island projects. I'm one of the smiths on record up there. Uh-huh. We design projects for the state. We're up there every year, the first weekend of August.
But there is a network of blacksmiths in the state now. I mean, you do communicate with other blacksmiths and work together on projects?
We have the Michigan Artist Blacksmiths Association.
Oh, I didn't realize that. How young of an organization is that?
It's been around for a little while.
Has it?
We just got it basically it was centered mainly in the southeast part of the state. Mm-hmm. And then with some new members on the board, we've branched out, and there's some new people in the group that are real excited, mm-hmm. that have really kicked it up into the north area. There are more and more communities, as they have festivals through the weekends, that are actually coming to the association and wanting somebody to show up and do a demonstration for them.
Is that one of the major things of the association, is kind of a brokerage to let for people to make contact with the blacksmiths, or is it what's the purpose of the association?
Basically, this is a branch of the Artist Blacksmiths Association of North America. Our main objective is to keep this craft alive, to keep it ongoing, to further the education of people just wanting to start out and begin, mm-hmm. as well as a journeyman's program, as well as now a master's program. There are members that are from all over the world. I just got back from a class in Missouri with an Israeli blacksmith.
Mm. So it is a worldwide art. I mean,
it is a worldwide art, and the association, the National Association, is actually an international association. Uh-huh. But the state association is part of that group, and that's our objective too, is to actually keep the craft alive, keep the organization going forward as far as an educational.
As we sat and talked with Pat that day, we were not only impressed with his incredible artwork that surrounded us, but also with the facts that he relayed to us in regards to Michigan's recognition of being the home of internationally respected blacksmiths. As we talked, we also learned of the State Association's tremendous involvement with educating the public about the art of blacksmithing. We were assured that day as we listened and learned from Pat that the art of blacksmithing, despite changing technologies, was here to stay. We thank Pat Hayes of Spirit Stone Forge for allowing us the opportunity to visit with him that day as we again celebrate the incredible talent of Michigan and her people. Well, that's all the time we've got for this edition of Michigan Magazine. So glad you could join us. Hope you join us next week for another edition as we hit those Michigan back roads to discover Michigan off the beaten path. We'd like to thank all those that help keep Michigan Magazine on the road. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts. Jerry's Joint at West Branch, some of the best burgers in town. Jerry's has a full menu, but when you order the burgers steaming hot, they're made the way you like it. Stacked time, made to order. Add fries, and you've got a complete meal. Jerry's Joint of West Branch, home of the best burgers in town. For home, medical, and healthcare products, visit Rose City Drug at 2640 North M33, just south of Rose City city limits. Rose City Drug has a complete diabetic department, including shoes. Serving Michigan for over 20 years. Rose City Drug, Rose City. Randy's Restaurant and Bakery, downtown Rose City. Freshly baked daily, cookies, breads, pastries, donuts, homemade pies, and more. Randy's has a full menu to tackle the heartiest appetite, including pizza and hand-dipped ice cream. Taste the freshness and savor the good times at Randy's, downtown Rose City.
See